Yeah, I can see how people would die. Uh, Fall off a bridge.
You got that bit worked out now?
Just in case.
Um,
Whee!
can we start our podcast now?
Start
Fine.
recording.
I've been recording for the last 6 minutes. I just thought it'd be fun to
Oh,
make it
Yeah.
official. Welcome back to the Plug In for More podcast. Finally, Bryant is available. Bryant is with us today, and we're gonna have a good conversation about crashing cars.
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to be back. I forgot how to log in this morning, so I've been on so many trips and vacations. I'm excited that I'm still a guest of this podcast. So thanks for having me,
Well,
guys.
yeah, you're definitely a guest, that's for sure at this point. You used to be a core piece of it, but now, yeah, officially a guest.
I'm a
Thanks
guest.
for clarifying, Bry. I appreciate that.
Welcome to Plug In for More, brought to you by evuniverse.com. EV Universe is your one-stop shop for all things related to the electric vehicle. Here on this podcast, our goal is to educate, inspire, and hopefully make your transition into the electric vehicle marketplace a lot less intimidating. And now, here are your hosts, Mike, Tom, and Bryant.
So it's been a while since all three of us have been able to get around to chit chat and do all that good stuff. But in the meantime, a couple of us have EVs that have been crashed into. Mike, you didn't do it again, did you?
I did. Yeah. Well, I didn't. I got rear-ended. So this one's not on me. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So the Rivian originally had it's got 12,000 miles on it. Been a great truck. I think it has a propensity to attract other objects or sometimes stationary objects. But I was at a parking deck. This is the first incident, and I was a little bit distracted with kids in the back seat, and just turned the wrong way into a solid concrete pillar in an underground parking deck. So that was a new door. Couple weeks to get repaired. So I get it back, and in the meantime, picked up the Cybertruck. Love that truck, gonna keep it, and so gonna sell the Rivian. Got a buyer lined up. Um, Everything was going smooth. I was getting it cleaned up to deliver to the guy the next day. Then I noticed the repair shop had forgotten to put on the Rivian badge on the driver's door. Like, oops, gotta go get that put on. So I called repair shop. They said stop over. We'll do it right away. On the way over there, I was about 3/4 way there. It's kind of an interesting intersection. So at this intersection, there's a whole bunch of cars pulling over to make this exit. So it's a hard exit to make, and so there was a bunch of cars merging in. As that happened, everyone slams on the brakes. I miss and stop in time for the car in front of me. Unfortunately, I get popped in the rear by a Ford work van, and then from there, everything was fine for about a half second. Then we get hit again from another vehicle, which was essentially an F Super Duty was in the back. They hit a Toyota Highlander. The Highlander hit the van. The van get pushed into me a second time. So the F Super Duty had both airbags deployed. My understanding was that thing was totaled. I know they had to tow that thing out of there, but it was pretty well wrecked. The Highlander was kind of the same deal. Full back end was pushed in. They had a trailer hitch that was turned completely sideways, and that frame was actually torqued. I got underneath the vehicle and could see it. It was not in a good position. The van, an older van, no airbags in that thing to go off, but it was pretty well destroyed. And then the Rivian, I mean, it was the back end's definitely messed up, and we can talk about the repairs. But I was able to drive away completely fine. I couldn't even feel any shimmy in the back of the truck, and drove right back over to the repair shop. When I showed up to the repair shop, they came out immediately. They knew I was coming, to put on the badges on the side of the truck, and I told them that they really messed up the back because it was really, really destroyed from their repair. They took a look at the back, and they were quite shocked. Obviously, I was kidding. And so that truck has been sitting there ever since. So that's been about 3.5 weeks now at this point. Tom, you saw the damage.
Yes.
What's your impressions? Because I can give you the update on based on what happened since you saw it?
Well, I think we know that damage can be deceiving from first glances, but it didn't. It
Mhm.
looked like it held up pretty well. Like considering all that energy, the Newton's cradle that happened there in that crash, like it did pretty good.
Yeah, it really did. And so the only really bad part about it means we have some damage, obviously, with the crash bar in the rear, and the tailgate's gone, and some of the lights and bumper. It didn't look like it hit the left side of the truck. Unfortunately, there was some energy that was absorbed into that left panel, left bedside panel, and because of that, they're gonna have to replace that whole panel. And that whole panel, there's a lot of single use products on that, or pieces of that truck. So like the rear glass, it has to get removed, and then there's the spoiler that goes on top of the back of the roof. That is a single use, so that is going to have to get replaced. And that's a pretty expensive item. I think in total we're looking at $25,000 worth of damage, something like that. It's
Wow.
pretty decent amount. Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
Is that the third crash on that, or is the second?
that's the second. Thank you. Let's not
I
add
just can't keep track of them all.
to
I can't keep
that.
track of all the crashes.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
So you're like an EV repair expert now, Mike, 'cause you've had so many claims. When I
Um,
saw the picture of it, I thought it might have hit the battery pack
no.
underneath the car. How did they figure out if the batteries were affected or not? Do you know?
Yes, I mean, I mean, just based on the structure around it, I mean, it's not even close. So when you disassemble the vehicle, you can see what areas it impacted, and the battery is a couple feet away, and all the structural components were completely fine around that. They put it on um, the frame machine to make sure that things were straight. Everything was within spec there, so that wasn't a problem. It was more just like the rear impact bars and stuff like that that took the brunt, like they're supposed to. So it did its job, and but yes, from a battery perspective, it's perfectly fine.
Interesting. You'll have to report back at your next insurance renewal. I can't wait to see what your insurance is going to be after these two accidents. So
Well, this one, at least it wasn't my fault, so, um,
true.
that's at least a one thing, yeah, so that's fun.
Well,
Mhm.
I think you're an expert at repairs, and when you get it done, I'd love to see, if you think the repairs have been, because that's always a question I have. At least talking to people about newer types of vehicles like the Rivian and others that aren't from a traditional, Ford or GM. Like, can they actually provide the parts in a timely manner, get the vehicle fixed back to the way it was? So you have to report back. 'Cause I mean, the pole one was minor. This one's more of 25,000. That's legit. That's a lot of damage. So
Yeah. Well, the good thing about the repair shop that's doing it is they're Rivian certified repair shop. They're one of 3 in North Carolina. Their volume of Rivian repairs is pretty big, and so there was already 15 other Rivians there at the time getting repaired. And frankly, the amount of damage on my truck versus the other ones, if you just like visually look at them, it was pretty minor compared to some of these others. Again, what they'll actually be and what's underneath once you disassemble is a completely different thing. But yeah, I mean, they've at least that place has a lot of experience doing it. But we'll see how it feels and how it drives afterwards.
yeah, for sure. I've been to a few. It happens to be the Tesla repair shops, at least in Michigan and Illinois, are Ferrari dealerships. It's not the only repair shops, but they happen to be Ferrari dealerships. The two I've been to, and to your point, the one in Michigan at least, they had 100 Teslas, 150 Teslas in various states of teardown, and they were just waiting for parts for them. And
Yeah,
but obviously, a Ferrari dealership knows what they're doing, so that's the kind of care that Tesla has. And I'm curious, the Rivian and some of these other types of newer
yeah.
vehicles, right?
Yeah, I mean, this repair shop, it's all BMWs, Mercedes, Land Rover. That's typically they do a lot. They're Tesla certified as well, so it's all high end cars there. And what they were telling me, and what I noticed for the first repair, is getting parts is pretty quick with them from Rivian. So that part's not a problem. They're just so backed up. I mean, if you look at their lot, like you can't even drive through it. They have too many cars. They need another location, because business is so good from people crashing Rivians and stuff. So, Tom, you had a furry animal that wanted to go after your Mach-E. You want to
Right.
give us that story?
It's a menace to society, as I would put it. But so we hinted a little bit in the last little segment there, talking about your Rivian, about how the damage maybe doesn't always look as bad as it is. I was just coming home from dropping my kids off at school last week and driving along, minding my own business at 55 miles per hour, and deer runs right out in front of me. And I didn't have a chance to brake, didn't have a chance to do anything, and it just smoked it on the front passenger corner. And it's like, oh man, like here we go. Like the car's gonna be messed up. I'll be able to drive it. And I go and look at it, and like the you can tell that there's damage. Like the front bumper's got some tears and some breaks, and the headlights blown out. But like it's in pretty good shape. Like I'm like pretty pleased with how this car held up to this crash for this deer, because I've had other crashes with deers that didn't fare that well with other cars.
Yeah, wait a minute. So we're making fun of me for my accidents, but you keep smoking deer. All right, just checking here.
I mean, I can't help what the deer's gonna do.
Yeah, that was a long delay trying to think of a comeback on that one. Anyways, back to you, Tom.
So get into the body shop, and they are working with my insurance company to get everything covered. The initial estimates are up around like $5,500 of damage. Like, holy cow, I guess a lot, but like we know that it seems inflated. So I go to this body shop yesterday, and I just want to do a quick look at the car after it had been torn down, and they had removed the entire front fascia, both headlights, all of the frunk components and liners. So like the whole front end of my car right now just looks like an empty ball of metal and wires. Like it's just so weird. And like now I see this car, like at first I was like, it did pretty well. And then I look at it, you know, now it's been torn apart, and it's just like, holy cow, there's a lot of damage here now. Now I'm not terribly thrilled. I also have to report back, Bryant, on the repair process and how things go. As of yesterday evening, parts are just getting ordered, so I don't know what the status of those are going to be.
So I saw that picture you kind of sent in a text thread. It looks like maybe to your point, once they tore it down, what was that bent? Was that a frame rail? What was that?
So yeah, I noticed that too. So that was so when Tom sent this text message, he was like, "Look at this damage. This is worse than I thought." And I circled part of the frame rail that I was curious about because it looked definitely bent. And then Tom FaceTimed me and showed me, nope, that's how it's made. So
Mm.
from the video, or the photograph is hard to tell, but once you actually get to see it, so that's actually normal. It's actually just part of the stamped process.
There's a couple other questionable components in there, like the way they are aligned. Like there's some T bars, maybe I'd call it, that the front fender attaches to, that are like canted off of the plane of the fender by like 30 degrees with exposed holes, and it just kind of odd.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
I did communicate with Aaron Jones a little bit about it, and Aaron told me that his Mach-E, it looks exactly the same way, so apparently that's normal.
Okay, well that's good because I was like, dang, if a deer, not saying it's impossible, but if a deer bends a frame rail, that's concerning. 'Cause if
Yeah.
we hit an actual car or a wall
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. Yeah. Talk about a Cybertruck being a tin can. Yeah, that'd be terrible. Like,
Interesting. Well, if you hit a deer in a gas powered vehicle, you know, you're probably smoking your radiator and several other things. Like in the front of the Mach-E, yeah, Mike's raising his hand. He knows. Of course, Mike
yeah,
knows.
because yeah, because I smoked a deer way back in like 2005, 2000. No, it was 2010. Yeah, I smoked a deer with a BMW. Yeah, blue radiator. It was great.
Yeah,
Good times.
right. Exactly. Um, you know, there's not much though. I'll be curious, Tom. Like when they tore out the front, like besides some wires and stuff, there's not really anything in the front of the Mach-E to hit, right? I mean, so the repairs should hopefully not be that terribly bad.
Yeah, I'm optimistic for it. I know a lot of what was removed was just removed because it was layered underneath the like the fascia of the car, so it just makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to kind of contrast Rivian, new company, new supply network, you know, new repair shop with Ford, obviously, you know, 100-year-old company, but obviously a new type of car that they, you know, it's new for them. But
I mean, it's been out for 3 model years now, so I mean,
yeah,
it's not like it's a brand new thing off the showroom floor with
Summer concerts, pool parties, chill nights under the stars. We're stocking up our closet so you're ready to look your best for all of it. At Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston, we're buying all things summer. So bring in your tees, tote bags, sandals, sunglasses, and more. We pay cash on the spot for gently loved name brand looks. Plato's Closet is the go-to destination for trend-forward teens and young adults who support local and shop sustainable. Visit Plato's Closet today. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
nothing available.
You're listening to the Plug In for More podcast. If you're looking for information on electric vehicles components, or information on how to reduce your carbon footprint, look no further than evuniverse.com. evuniverse.com is your one-stop shop for all things related to electric vehicle.
It's not nearly as fun as you two, but I just wanted to share. If you remember a couple months ago, the EV6 12-volt battery died. I had to have it towed to
Yeah.
the dealer. That actually led to a recall from Kia for the ICCU control unit, which controls the 12-volt battery and the charging. So that recall's open. I was probably one of the last ones, the straw that broke the camel's back, because they had replacing all these 12-volt batteries. So now there's a nationwide recall for the ICCU. I'm going to take my car in and see if it needs anything else, but I'm assuming I got in right before the recall. However, because I took a lot of grief from people. Oh, look at EVs aren't reliable. Their 12-volt batteries are dying. I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago, and I actually had my Dodge Ram with instead of the EV. My wife wanted to drive the EV all week, and I came out. Luckily, it's at the end of the week, end of meetings, and guess what? Like my 2020 Dodge Ram 12-volt battery was dead, and it was so dead that it wouldn't even take a jump start. I had to actually call roadside assistance, and they had to get it running with one of those battery jumpers. I usually have a battery jumper with me. However, I did have it in the EV instead of the RAM, just PTSD from that 12-volt battery dying. The funny part is he got it running, and then he shut my hood and he's like, all right, just don't turn it off. And the car instantly turned off. And I was like, okay, like, can we do that again? So we got it running again, and he's like, all right, just don't turn it off. And he shuts the hood, and I'm like, is it going to turn off again? Because I was driving back to Michigan. It's not like where you don't want the car to just die on the side of the road, right? So I drove back to Michigan. I never turned the car off. I went to Jimmy John's and stopped for gas, left the car running the whole time, which I know you're not supposed to do, but I don't care. I was going to get stuck somewhere. And then I pull in my driveway
Yeah.
here at my house, and it literally dies in my driveway. So got a new 12-volt battery, and it works fine. But my point is, 12-volt batteries have nothing to do with EVs. It's same with ICE vehicles. My golf cart also had 12-volt battery die. So I feel like any 12-volt battery that I own is dying right now. I want to buy like battery stock because I've bought like 6 12-volt batteries over the last 6 months. So
Well, I want to the one thing that's I guess the best part of that story, which you have not said yet, is what day was that the Dodge Ram battery died? Was it a significant other's birthday by chance? Was it your wife's birthday that you sort of missed because the 12-volt battery was dead?
yeah, no, I had my wife gets really upset when I miss her birthday because I've missed it a few times traveling. So this time I promised, because I scheduled my own team meeting during it. So I had full control over scheduling this. I promised her I'd be home at 6 for dinner because I'm going to take her out to a nice restaurant. And I had it all figured out, right? Like, but yeah, no, I was home at like 9. So yeah, I definitely missed it. She was not super happy with me. So
Speaking of Renee not being happy, though, a couple weeks ago, I got my hands on the Hummer EV, which we know that she's in love with. And I offered to bring it up to show you guys, but you told me no and said, no, I don't want Renee to see it.
I know. And then she saw your video,
Right.
and your video was so good. I mean, you got a couple comments on some of our social media that I think you sold one to someone in Ohio, I think.
It's surprising.
Yep.
Yeah, like his comment was, "Your video is so good. I've been on the fence. I like went in and bought one." And I was like, "What? You bought a Hummer? You bought a $200,000 Hummer because of your YouTube video? Like,
No,
good for you, Tom. You need to cut of this. Come on, like."
You'd think so.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
Yeah.
it's 105,000.
Okay,
but
sorry, I don't want to
still,
exaggerate.
I'd take the check. No, like the Hummer, like And if you guys are interested, the video's up on our YouTube channel, the EV Universe YouTube channel, but it's like a 12-minute long video. But the too long don't read version of it is it's absurd. Yeah, it's a fast truck and it's seemingly okay, like quality wise, and but the ride quality is and everything else just feels like it's a mid tier, GM pickup truck. Like it's not $100,000 truck material inside that car.
Well, I think about that comment. It's $100,000 truck. I mean, a lot of trucks these days are 100K, like just base. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I think we all have that kind of that mentality of 100K. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. But I mean, a lot of Wranglers now are 65, 70,000.
Yeah.
I mean, like a regular. I mean, these things are getting crazy. I mean, a lot of like even a platinum F-150 gas truck is well over 100,000. I mean, it's nuts. Not downplaying 100K, but it doesn't get you the luxury that I think we would kind of expect at 100K. I think
Sure.
you got to be almost 120, 150. Really, it's just yeah. Anyway, the inflation has kind of gone crazy. The MSRPs on these things has gone nuts. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah, and I can
yeah,
concede that point too. Like I get that. But
yeah,
still, like I love the removable roof, the T top looking thing. I forget their technical term for it, but it's um that's really cool. Like I love that feature. Um, but it's just a big fluffy suspension that you're riding on. Like I don't know. It's different. You'll enjoy it when you go for your test ride though, Bryant.
I was gonna say Renee's gonna drag me to go test drive this thing, and it doesn't help that it's bright orange. Like,
It is pretty
really?
hideous.
I mean, circling back on the MSRP comment, though, is interesting. I was talking to a couple folks in Chicago. One guy that is on my team, and he just bought a new Model Y because Teslas are now all of a sudden like some of the most affordable cars in the country. Like, don't get me wrong, you can spec them
yeah,
out and get expensive stuff, but for just like a base Model 3 and a base Model Y, like those are freaking affordable cars right now. It's pretty impressive to think about Tesla starting off as, high-end luxury, expensive, and now, I mean, he was shopping for like a mid-level SUV, and obviously I've been talking about EVs, and he's ridden in mine before, and he's like, "Wow, the Model Y is like a really nice car for what you get. You get a lot of bang for your buck." Um, and then same thing with the Model 3, and they've updated. I think the new Model 3 looks really good too. So Tesla also is known for, going, 10 model years, if you want to call it, or 10 years, not model years, but 10 years without, you know, updating anything. Now they're updating the Model 3. I think it looks fantastic. So fascinating that the EV's perception in the general universe of EVs, or the general universe of non-EV owners, is they're so expensive. They're only for rich people. And now that Model 3 is one of the most inexpensive cars you can buy.
yeah. I mean, in the Model Y, I mean, just to give people kind of real numbers on it, so you can get the long range rear wheel drive, which for most parts of the country, that's going to be everything you need with the $7,500, not including the $7,500 tax credit. It's 45,000. So you take that tax credit, you're into what 37.5
Yeah.
is what that car is. It's got 320 miles of range. Just bumping it up to the all-wheel drive long range version, which is 310 miles of range, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. So it's 4.8. That's like early 2000 Corvette time frame, or speeds. And that thing with the tax, with including the tax credits, just over 40,000. I mean, and you're not paying for gas. I mean, that's a really, really good deal. And financing on that is under 1% right now through the end of the month. I
Mm.
mean, it's an incredible deal. It really is.
Yeah.
So if you crash a Mach-E or something and you can't get it repaired right away, Tom's screen froze. I couldn't see couldn't see a reaction there, but maybe it's time to make a switch.
I love it. I mean, to your point, the base Model 3 without tax credits around 38, 39,000. If you throw in the 7,500, you're talking like 30 grand. And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it's base, but like still, like 30 grand is like, what other cars can you get for 30 grand right now? Not like a Model 3 level type of car. You're talking
Right.
like,
No.
what's a Toyota Corolla? Like
I
probably
mean, let's go look.
all right. Toyota Corolla MSRP is cheaper. It's 22,
Start,
25, but still,
but it's. I mean, wait. I mean that's not even apples to apples at that point because that's a four cylinder. You know, like 7 seconds 0 to 60. It's got less space in it.
yeah,
Like, um, it doesn't have the technology in it either for like autopilot. Not including like full self driving, right? Like just the plain old autopilot. I mean, there's just
yeah, I would
not
agree.
even close. That new Model 3 has it? Have you guys sat in that thing
No.
No, I
or
haven't. I've
driven it?
seen it, but I haven't driven or sat in it.
The improvement between the previous one that we've tested is night. I mean, interior quality and the quality of that car is night and day
Hmm.
difference. I mean, it is really like a mini model of like a mini new Model S. It's really, really nice. Like the heated and cooled seats. It's just a great. It's a big, big improvement,
Hmm,
and for that price, I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I would get one all day long if I didn't need the space.
yeah. Speaking of Model 3s, one new car that I was reading about a little bit before this, it's not out for another couple years, but Kia went, the EV6, which is their, I guess you call Model Y sedan slash crossover. They went EV9, which is their big three-row crossover, which I've seen I haven't driven. I've ridden in one. Really nice. Tom, have you driven? You drove one, right?
Not yet.
Okay. And then they're also going like to the smaller compact SUVs. So they've unveiled the EV3. There's not a ton note about it, but it looks like 30,000 or sub 30,000 MSRP, and then 350-mile range. And don't get me wrong, it's smaller. It's a lot smaller, and 0 to 60 time isn't great at 7 seconds. But it's like a mini version of EV9. If you guys haven't seen this car, I think
Yeah.
it's fascinating to think about it. It's like I said, it's not performance, but if you get 350 miles of range, it's the same 400-volt architecture as my car. So you're going to be charging um, sorry, you're going to be charging in 30 minutes. It's not the same architecture as my car. The 800 volts smaller. It's 400 volt. But overall, though, for if you include the tax credit on this thing, which that's a big question mark of where it's going to be assembled, and like I said, it's 2 more years if it qualifies for a tax credit. Let's just say it does. 22 grand. Like it's a heck of a car for that. So Kia continues to push out new EV concepts. They're talking about um, and then of course they have the GT line and the higher level trims for this EV3 as well, just very similar to what they're doing the EV6, the GT line. You got the higher trim levels, the more performance, all that stuff. But interesting stuff coming out from Kia. Have you guys seen a picture of this or seen a video of it or anything?
I have seen some pictures of it, and
Yeah.
I think your assessment of it being a mini EV9 is spot on.
Plan is the rest of my day. I'm gonna try to make a salad with the Cybertruck.
Nice.
If you haven't seen the video that we made yesterday with the carrot and how it literally acts as a knife, I mean, I think I'm just gonna take cucumber, carrots, maybe some, just lettuce, see how it does, and just re- eat off the truck. Why not?
So I was entertaining myself in the airport last Friday because I was delayed several hours, and I did get starting to watch people getting their fingers slammed in the frunk of Cybertrucks, and that's pretty entertaining.
Yeah. When you say fingers, was it more than just that Jeremy guy?
Yeah, there was
Because
like
Tom asked me to do that, and I was like, "No, dude, I will do the carrots." I'm not, yeah. And I think I even said someone will do this, and sure enough, like a couple hours after we put out our video, there's someone else doing it, and he actually did it. But go ahead. There's other people other than this Jeremy that did that, or
yeah. Yeah, I got lost in some thread or I don't know where I was. I was like in the airport for 6 hours and I was exhausted from a week of travel. So I don't know what platform or whatever I was on, but somehow they kept serving up this like maybe it was the same guy I didn't even notice. But it was entertaining enough to watch it over and over
You
again.
gotta swipe up.
or he's like, ah, a finger, and then he can't even reach to get the trunk or the front open.
Yeah.
Like that's the best part. Is like, yeah,
No, I mean,
I didn't think through that
I was
part.
laughing out loud. I watched that in the roast of Tom Brady, and I was laughing out loud so many times. People were thinking That was probably like something was wrong with me mentally, but I don't care. It was funny, and I laughed out loud.
Good luck cutting that into the podcast.
I all right. I'm gonna. Oh wait, we probably should say goodbye.
Probably.
Okay, gentlemen, it's been wonderful getting together again. It's been too long. Bryant, let's stop taking trips. Be present.
No
Be a part of this
guarantees.
podcast. We need you here.
I appreciate that. I will try my very best.
All right, take care, gentlemen.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Plug In for More. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, check out the one-stop EV marketplace, evuniverse.com. Until next time.